Morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
Happy new month to everybody. We're just 20 days away from the federal election. I can't believe it's rapidly approaching. It's been quite a long year. I want to thank you all for joining us today. And I want to thank Marge and the entire Connecting the Community family that is always so welcoming and once again hosting this very important discussion this morning. As I said, the 21st of October is rapidly approaching, and I stand here and I can't help but reflect how rewarding the past 12 months have been for me and my team, as we have reached out to every home in Richmond Hill, not once, not twice, but 3 times, and we're currently doing our 4th run around. It is both humbling, and I have to tell you, I am grateful that so many people in our community share their stories, share their concerns, and their hopes for a better tomorrow. Of course, when you knock on people's doors, you meet people of all political stripes. You respect the doorstep that you're at and their home, but it's always interesting to engage in discussions with people that have an interest in politics and certainly an interest in how their country and their government is run. Today I'd like to share with you some of the top issues that have repeatedly come up at the door. Because there's no better poll than the actual residents of Richmond Hill, the actual residents that live in the community, about things that are important to them. Of course, we can turn on the TV and read newspapers and get on the internet and get a wide variety of information and polling data done nationally, but here locally in Richmond Hill, it's certainly very interesting to see what is important to people in Richmond Hill, many issues of which, of course, are of interest nationally as well. So here's the things that have been coming up. Not once, but I'm just going to be speaking about the top issues that I've heard over the course of the past the year as I've been going around Richmond Hill. Number one issue is affordability. It is sad to hear that so many people today, even by some standards, I guess, an affluent community like Richmond Hill, people are still struggling to get by. 2 weeks ago, I was in one of the townhouses on the east side of Bayview, and a mom answered the door. She does not belong to any political party. She was an undecided voter, and she related to me her plight, her problem. She's a single mother. She owns a townhouse, has a mortgage, pays the maintenance fees for the condo corporation. She has a daughter who's graduating from university, a bright young lady who would like to go to her choice of the university, but unfortunately she doesn't have money to send her daughter to school. Her comment was, "You politicians are all the same. You all say things are getting better. You all say you're doing things for the middle class. Every party is. You could take the lingo of each party and mash it up. Everybody's at least trying to say it the best that they can to attract as many votes as they can. But these are real people out there with real problems." I've heard the issue of affordability over and over and over and over. People are struggling, and it's sad to see. The economy, of course, is an issue of primary concern. We've seen what has happened over the past 4 years. We've added $75 billion to the national debt. The national debt today stands in excess of $700 billion, which translates to about $50,000 per household. Where that is going in the future, we don't know. We know what the party platforms are. We know that the current Liberal government has announced their platform in its totality, purporting that over the next 4 years, we're going to be adding somewhere around another close to $100 billion to the national debt, with absolutely no end in sight for a balanced budget or bringing our fiscal situation under control. The concern that people have, of course, is that their children, their grandchildren, are going to end up paying the price at some point. We are paying federally today $2 billion a month in interest. Provincially, we pay another $1 billion. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that with $3 billion a month, we can build a lot of community centers, a lot of roads, a lot of subways, a lot of churches, a lot of schools. We can do a lot. Instead, it's going out in interest. And God forbid the interest rates go up a couple of percentage points. What's the government going to do? Their only source of income is the taxpayer. This is a serious problem, and people are concerned about it. Now, here in Richmond Hill, perhaps more than some other communities across the country, traffic and congestion comes up repeatedly. People are very concerned. Richmond Hill, as many of you know, parts of Richmond Hill and Yonge Street are a parking lot from 7 to 9 in the morning, and certainly from 5 to 7 in the afternoon. People are traveling to and from work, maybe 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. And in some cases, it's a good situation. 4 hours in a car. It's something that we need to take very, very seriously. In every election, I've heard about the subway. I heard it before I was elected. I heard it while I was your member of parliament here in Richmond Hill, 2011, 2015. I've certainly heard it over the last 4 years. The provincial government has announced a priority of extending the subway coming up to Yonge Street. And I'm very happy that last week, I believe it was on Thursday or Friday, that the Conservative leader, Andrew Scheer, has said it would be a priority for a new Conservative government come October 21st. It will become a reality because now, for the first time ever, we have both a provincial and a potential federal government that will put the money on the table to bring the subway up to Richmond. It's very important for Richmond Hillers, it's very important for students attending university, it's very important for so many of us. It was a key issue in the last election. It's also a key issue in this election, as people have been bringing that up at the door over and over and over. Another issue, of course, is the issue of immigration, and the botched immigration policy of the last 4 years has just created a backlog and a huge problem with illegal immigration into Canada. That's something we really need to focus on. All political parties in the past, and certainly the previous Conservative government, had a balanced, sustainable, responsible, compassionate immigration policy focused on economic immigration, family unification, and compassionate immigration for refugees and asylum seekers. We need to look at it. There are communities in Canada that have been strangled with this problem, and certainly when a refugee or an asylum seeker walks across from New York State or from a country that we would have considered a safe country and not accepted refugees from in the past, as the previous government did not accept refugees from safe countries. A safe country is defined as a country with a democratic government and a judicial system equal to ours that respects human rights, like the United States, like the European Union countries. This current government threw that to the side and said, come on in, creating this huge backlog. That needs to be revisited because it's clogged up the system. Health is another issue that comes up very, very often at the door. And of course, the federal government has the Canada Health Act, which funds the provinces, but depending, there's a funding formula by population by province. And the Conservative leader, Andrew Scheer, has announced early, one of the first things in the platform, that we will not only continue the funding the province, but predictable increases from 1 year to the next for health to the provinces, so the provinces can plan accordingly their investment in health. Certainly a big issue this election is the environment, and that's come up often at the door. I've received many, many emails and requests from people, requests for participation in engaging in discussion on the environment. I have no time for people to deny that climate change is a serious problem. I can tell you that the Conservative government has put together the most comprehensive environmental plan an opposition party has ever put together in Canada. Nobody, irrespective of what they think or say, can stand up and say, no, look at this plan in this election or that election with this party in the past and say it was more comprehensive. We have a site, a realplan.ca, that is focused, is incentive-based on incentivizing businesses, manufacturers, and families and homes to participate in reducing greenhouse gas emissions and getting us to that Paris Accord commitment of a 30% reduction to 2005 emissions by 2030. How much time do I have?
You've gone, it's over 9 minutes, I was told, so you've gone twice as long as I thought you could.
Oh, so I've gone too far? So
Yes, so you can summarize up and there. Adam, I think, has got his pass.
Okay, so 1 minute and I'll be done.
1 minute, perfect.
Okay, 1 minute and I'll be done.
Minute starting now, sir.
Thank you very much. Ethics and integrity in government, a big issue. We've all seen the fiascos of the last 4 years. I don't want to get into them within a minute, but certainly support for seniors and veterans and crime and law enforcement are issues that came up at the door. So it's my hope this morning to engage in some meaningful and respectful discussion on these and any other topics that may be of interest to you. I can tell you it has been the privilege of my life to have served Richmond Hill as your member of parliament. I ask for your support again on October 21st. Together we can do a lot. We need a strong voice in parliament and not just words and rhetoric and substance. Thank you so much. I think I'm done in a minute.